Don't believe that the Soviet Union collapsed simply because America was powerful. In reality, its greatest enemy came from within, and not many people realize that the fall of the USSR began long before Washington claimed victory. In this story, we are not talking about a war of weapons, but a war of systems, decisions, and beliefs. The collapse did not happen in one dramatic explosion. It was a slow erosion from the inside. By 1991, the Soviet Union, once a global superpower, suddenly dissolved. Many rushed to conclude that America had won the Cold War, but this narrative is too simplistic. The truth is more complex. The United States was strong, but the Soviet system was already fragile. Its economy was rigid, its bureaucracy inefficient, and its people were growing increasingly dissatisfied. While the West advanced in technology, culture, and innovation, everyday Soviet citizens struggled with empty shelves and endless queues. When Mikhail Gorbachev introduced perestroika economic reform and glasnost openness, his intention was to modernize the nation. Instead, these policies exposed deep corruption, inequality, and long-beared frustrations. Rather than stabilizing the country, they accelerated its unraveling. At the same time, America played its cards strategically, not through direct military conflict, but through economic pressure, diplomacy, and ideological influence. The Cold War became less about missiles and more about which system the world found more appealing. The turning point came in 1991 with a failed coup against Gorbachev. Chaos spread across the republics, many of which began declaring independence. By the end of the year, the Soviet Union officially ceased to exist. One of the world's greatest powers disappeared without a full-scale war. A victory for some, a deep trauma for others. So, was this America's triumph? Partly, yes, they maneuvered brilliantly on the global stage. But was it Russia's failure? More accurately, it was the failure of the Soviet system itself. Too rigid to adapt, too proud to evolve, and too disconnected from its people. Nations do not fall simply because of external enemies. They fall when they lose the trust of their own citizens. In the end, the collapse of the Soviet Union is not just a story of defeat or victory. It is a lesson about power, change, and leadership. And the real question remains: if you had been in charge at the time, would you have defended the old system or dared to rebuild everything from zero?